There are 5 reasons that Alpha Strike makes for better games of Battletech. Can you last through the entire list before leaving your angry replies in my comment section? Let's find out. Hi, I've been gone for a while. Don't ask why. Might have been enlargement surgery, might not have been. Either way, I'm coming in swinging and plopping it right down on the gaming table. Consider it a gauntlet thrown, only thicker and veinier. And I'm coming in hot because today I am tackling one of the stickiest, most clickbaitiest video topics. I'll tell you my top 5, but let's first cover why I even bothered to stoop down to this level and start slinging mud. And if you can make it to the end, you might even see why you want to hold off on your angry replies and downvotes. I get a lot of comments on my videos. I appreciate the engagement, as it generally means I am doing a good job. But every once in a while, I will notice something. Comments start popping up that look like this. Now, everybody is entitled to their opinions, but they are wrong, and I know best, and am never wrong, so I am making this video. I really didn't plan on making it, but here we are. Much like a bad Tinder date, bad decisions led us both here, so let's make the most of it. I decided to make this video to make one thing clear. I don't care if you think the Classic is better. Good for you. Good for your game group. Good for Catalyst Game Labs. Play Classic. Nobody is forcing you to play Alpha Strike. It's my game of choice because it is my preference. I am a busy father with other hobbies outside of Battletech, and prefer to run more abstract games to save myself some time and to spend less time calculating movement points for elevations. You really want to declare to the world that Classic Battletech is better than Alpha Strike? Fair enough. You are entitled to your wrong opinion. I will not be covering more Classic Battletech mechanics, as there are many other channels good at doing that already. They all deserve likes, comments, subscribes, and squeezes on the cheek. Each in question is up to the squeezer. If you feel so passionately about Classic Battletech, make a counterpoint video. That's the thing about preferences. They are relative. So don't be surprised if I ignore your declarations of superiority when I put an end to this debate once and for all with the tried and true top 5 list. These videos never fail, and I will certainly not face any rebuttals in the comments, since this is irrefutable and factual. With that out of the way, let's get back to the list. Number 5 on the list, because going backwards is how you do these, or why Alpha Strike is the superior game over Classic Battletech. It's less bookkeeping. If I need a stack of books bigger than the thickness of a cucumber, the most dignified of vegetables, then I get discouraged. The cards are compact. I can print 9 of them on a sheet of paper and keep them in card sleeves for using later if I don't have ones that came with the miniature. I know that both versions of the game have apps that dedicated individuals made to help with this aspect, but it goes beyond just game table record keeping. The actual number of books you need to play a game are far lower with Alpha Strike. With Classic, depending on the equipment you have, the era and tech level you're playing in, the record sheets you need, etc., you might need a whole stack of books to play that particular game. That's not even counting campaign games or anything like that. With Alpha Strike, I have never needed more than the Commander's Edition rulebook. Sure, that's a minor point, and that's why it's at the bottom of this list, but it still matters. The second reason that Alpha Strike can be better than Classic is that you are encouraged to use more units in a single battle. For some, this is a downside. For me, sitting on my mountain of plastic, this is an upside. See how relativity and opinions works? Now you understand. For me, this is a benefit because otherwise I might not be as motivated to paint 3 to 4 regiments of mechs I have sitting around. It also encourages me to view the force I'm fielding as a more complete picture, telling a story on a grander scale, raising the stakes. A handful of warriors fighting each other on a battlefield somewhere might make sense for honor duels, but when we are talking about warfare, combined arms is the only thing that makes sense to me. I like having the option of running mechs alongside lances of tanks, platoons of infantry, and flights of aerospace fighters without the game becoming a confusing mess of tacked-on rules and supplemental complications. It's all right there in the Commander's Edition. No additional rulebooks needed. Sure, if you get the right Classic book, you can run all of those things from a single book as well, but let's be real. Is it worth the additional complication? That book gets so dense it may as well be cut up into multiple rule sets. There's only one thing I like being that thick, and it's cake. That, and I like a lot of the mech designs. Aesthetically, artistically, sometimes sexually, there are a lot of cool mech designs, and I want to use more of them. What is the point of playing if you can't use as many cool-ass robots as possible? Number 3, the Alpha Strike is the superior game system. I have to spend less time playing it to tell a bigger story. Unlike a lot of the chronically online trolls that feel entitled to tell me how I am wrong for having a different opinion, I actually touch grass on occasion. I have kids and dogs and work to do that isn't related to the hobby of Battletech. So while I could confidently sit on a live stream, spouting some nonsense about how soon all of our warfare will be completely drone-based IRL, and somehow labeling that a Battletech stream, I have other stuff to do. That also means I need my games to be concise, and not take an age to play. I'm not a computer. I don't do mathematical equations fast enough, nor memorize entire tables of rules well enough to play large games of Classic quickly. If I want to play Classic, I won't do it on the tabletop. I'll use Mega Mech, or something that can handle the tables in math order. When I am recording a video, it's gonna be Alpha Strike. Also consider that I often make content out of my games, and that means it takes time to do. Setting up the lighting, the cameras, the table, and everything else takes a little bit of time. Alpha Strike better fits inside of that structure, allowing me to show off my impressive 5-inch mark on the measuring tape, as well as fully painted miniatures and tables, and saving time doing so. All the old heads might tell you that Classic is better, but it just isn't. Even if you memorize as much as possible, the level of detail involved means that there is no way for it to match the pace of Alpha Strike, which can resolve narrative actions in far fewer dice rolls. Number 4. Abstraction. Keeping things kind of vague, like the balance in my bank account, helps give me enough space to tell the story with a bit of imaginative flair. That's the reason so many people started watching this channel, so you gotta give the people what they want, right? Otherwise, the balance of that bank account is less vague and more looking like a 0. In all seriousness, the abstraction is the hate it or love it part. Either you love that it lets you progress the narrative forward quickly, telling grander stories, or you hate that it does not provide all the minutiae you need to imagine the story yourself. Complexity is not a virtue in its own right. At the end of the day, we are playing a game. For a hyper-realistic simulation of physics and whatnot, this is the wrong game. We are talking about massive, overpriced walking tanks that have no right to exist. If I want to run a simulation, I will go to the computer, as they are so much better at running those simulations. Did you see Mechwarrior Clans? That game has a visual fidelity that 12-year-old me couldn't even fathom while playing Mechwarrior 2 on my mom's Macintosh. We truly live in a wondrous age, when our civil liberties aren't being beaten out of us. But hey, that reminds me, the final, obvious reason that Alpha Strike is the best is that it is rage bait. That's right. Nothing gets keyboard warriors all frothy like bringing up a good old Classic versus Alpha Strike debate. Honestly, I don't care if your group plays Classic, because I too love Classic. I grew up with it. It would be like hating my childhood house. I have too many fond memories to do that. I don't hate Classic Battletech by any means. I just find it intensely satisfying to rage bait particular people that see Battletech as some sort of territory to stake a claim over. You see, Battletech is in a very precarious place right now. Thanks to the delicate socio-economic political situation right now, Battletech is suffering at the hands of the current administration more than ever, as evidenced by this lengthy blog post by Lauren L. Coleman. To put it simply, no, China will not be paying the tariffs. And yes, it means that for the foreseeable future, prices will be required to increase once stock in the warehouses runs out. Since Battletech miniatures are created in China, the books are printed in China, pretty much wholly everything is manufactured in China these days, it will not be a simple or immediate process to switch gears and bring domestic production back to the United States. Therefore, tariffs. If our goods are being taxed at 90%, 100%, 110%, or whatever other arbitrary number the self-proclaimed Pope King decides, then we can expect to see our prices go up. It's simple math. China doesn't pay the tariffs, we do. You understand, but that's a little bit of a tangent. Get back on topic. I am simply patronizing the gatekeepers that think Battletech has to match their very narrow vision of the game. It's a grand setting created by dozens of authors, writers, and creatives for us to play in. Why limit the scope so narrowly? I bet people like this eat plain wheat toast every morning, and not for their cardiovascular health, but because they like it. If we are being real for a moment, as a veteran, I see too many parallels between the gatekeepers of the hobby and the current administration that spits in the face of the Constitution I gave so much for. I do not abide by traitors in the spaces that I curate. I also do not stand for misogyny, bigotry, or other misplaced hate. Take it to therapy. If you don't like it, give me an angry rant in the comments. It's all engagement, baby. Classic Battletech is not infallible. Neither is Alpha Strike infallible. But now we can finally put the argument to rest on which is better. Or I can farm engagement off your rage. Either way works for me. I apologize for stepping away for the length of time that I did. A few months ago, I lost my longtime friend of 12 or so years. One day he was there, the next he wasn't. I'm especially grateful to my Patreon supporters that stuck it out, as they really got the short end of the stick. I don't know exactly what happened to my friend, but I know he was also struggling with mental health as a veteran, and the issues being caused for him by this current administration might have proven too much for him to deal with. So if you are wondering why I am so filled with vitriol against the political right, you no longer need to wonder, because they have taken much from me without provocation or reason. We won't even discuss my stock portfolio. In the spirit of moving on, I'm going to be rebranding and expanding the channel to cover other war games and various tabletop adjacent topics, in addition to the Battletech content. Creating content at its core is a task requiring creative motivation. Until next time, the battle